Hey, friends, happy Friday. Mike Wood here. This week, we're saying goodbye to Pizza Hut, but hello to Phenom agents for ServiceNow customers. Meta is launching a massive data warehouse worker training program. PwC research shows that workforce is splitting in two. And Stacia Gar gives us a scoop on Oracle, SpaceX buys Cursor, plus the labor market, and a brand new Callie's Corner. In today's wrap, hit the theme song.
It's the Wrap Tech News and Shenanigans. It's the Wrap. Here's your host, Mike Wood.
All right, here's where my head went this week, and it started with the burrito, even though I know I have Pizza Hut on here. Bear with me, I'll get there. So I used to love Chipotle. It was a borderline obsession. I love the barbacoa burritos with the green salsa, red salsa if I didn't have anywhere else to be for the rest of the day, the whole thing. And then it changed. That same burrito that I used to buy for probably like $12 and was bursting at the seams is now $16 and it's hardly bursting at the seams. Everything is an upcharge. And it's not in my head. In 2025, Chipotle posted its first annual same-store sales decline in more than 2 decades. The CEO's advice to customers who felt shorted? Ask for more. He also mentioned that 60% of their core customers now earn over $100,000, and they plan to lean into them. Translation, we can squeeze more money out of people. So this week, Pizza Hut became the newest headstone in the Graveyard of Destroyed Brands. Yum Brands sold it off for $2.7 billion, most of it to private equity, which means it's never coming back. And that's a little sad because I remember what made Pizza Hut fun. It was the building with the red roof, the red cups, the personal pan pizza you earned by reading 5 books for the Book It program. The Pizza Huts of today are not like that. The Pizza Hut today are tucked into a Target or a gas station with pizza sitting under a hot lamp. And it went from like a fresh get together with the family to only what you'd eat if it was an emergency. So they join Red Lobster, TGI Fridays, Hooters, On the Border. There's a whole bunch of them. The casual dining cemetery, it gets new entrants every day. And the diagnosis is always the same. The food got more expensive. The customer got squeezed, and none of these places were special enough anymore to be worth the trip. So here's the principle I want you to sit with, is that a strong brand is built on the deviation from the mean. The specific thing that people love, the bigger portions, the fresh cut meat, the cool building, is by definition the above average part, and therefore the expensive part to maintain. So every pressure on the maturing business pushes in the same direction. Cost accounting trims the distinctive thing, value engineering standardizes it, and a consultant benchmarks you against your peers until you become your peers. Each cut is rational, but collectively they're suicide. And the brand doesn't die in one bad decision. It dies of 1,000 sensible cuts. And here's why this matters for HR tech. So for 20 years, the grind towards the mean was slow because it was human. Committees, consultants, quarterly margin meetings, AI removed that friction. And LLM, by definition, predicts the most statistically probable outcome, the average of everything it's ever seen. So the danger of AI was never that it would be bad at things. The danger is that it would be excellent at average. And the average is exactly the quality that nobody cares about. I keep seeing HR tech companies expand until they're unrecognizable. Everybody wants to be Workday, and I get it. They are a big success. But do you really want to build something that people merely tolerate? The red roof was never about the pizza. Remember, if you're having pizza in a building without a red roof, you're at a pizza place, not a Pizza Hut. So it was about the whole purpose of going to Pizza Hut is that it stood out. It was about being somewhere instead of anywhere. So my advice to brands, hold on to your red roof. All right, we've previewed the labor market during the last show, and now I've got the full report. It's up on ilovethewrap.com/labor market. And on paper, the May jobs report looks like a clean win. Employers added 172,000 jobs, which is more than double the consensus of around 80,000. Unemployment held at 4.3%. March and April got revised up by a combined 93,000 jobs, and that all sounds great. But if you look where the jobs come from, there's a little bit of hesitation in there. So leisure and hospitality led with 70,000 jobs. State and local government, mostly education, added another 50,000. Healthcare chipped in at another 47,000. So if you strip those 3 buckets out, private payrolls are thin. These are not the jobs a freshly minted analyst or coordinator is fighting over. We're adding shifts at the restaurant and aides at the clinic. The low hire, low fire freeze is still firmly in place. And here's the part that matters for everybody watching. The average hourly earnings rose 3.4% over the year. But in May, the consumer price index came out, and it's at 4.2% of inflation. So wages are up 3.4%, but prices are up 4.2%. The average worker actually took a real pay cut, while the headline screams full employment. So annualized wage growth is now the weakest it's been since we climbed out of the pandemic. So when you hear strong labor market, remember, strong for the headline, but your paycheck is actually worth less. And this is where our own number comes in. So, like, I created the Wrap Underemployment Index, which I affectionately call the Worker Misery Index, to look at what the underemployment number is. And so, these numbers, I'll remind you, they're a little bit behind. So it's just in April. So the unemployment index is my attempt to measure what the headline unemployment rate completely misses: the people who have a job but are underemployed, underpaid, or stuck. The official rate has been saying 4.3% for most of this year, and that's fine, but it doesn't feel fine, does it? So right now we're at 71.4% and rising against 4% plus inflation and the weakest wage growth since the pandemic recovery. So if you put it together, here's my read. Don't expect a Fed rate cut this year with these numbers. The full index lives live on I Love the Wrap. .com/labor market. Go play along with it and see how miserable you may be.
HR Tech News of the Week.
All right, time to get into some HR tech news. Yes, that is an army of minions. Bear with me for a second. I always use the army of minions when I talk about like tons of agents. So Phenom announced that its AI agents now operate inside the ServiceNow AI platform, including ServiceNow's Auto Assistant. And here's what those agents can do. Autonomously, they can run intake meetings, generate job descriptions, source and screen candidates, and move the top of the pile to the interview stage. Meanwhile, the compliance checks, the stakeholder notifications, and the approvals all stayed inside ServiceNow, and the candidate engagement runs through Phenom. So that's the minions joke. You get this little army of autonomous agents running at the top of your funnel while you're off doing something else. It's real serious integration, and you love to see it. And so I'm curious to see how people using this as it roll out. I'd love to hear any stories that are out there. All right, Meta, because I can't spend a week without talking about Meta, but Meta is putting $115 million into year one of something called America's Workforce Academy. Here's the deal. It's a cost-free program that actually pays participants while they train for skilled trades, and it guarantees a job for every graduate. You walk out with a portable credential, portable, and America's Workplace certificate. It's built to travel across employers. And it's being billed as the largest private sector skilled trades commitment with a job guarantee in American history. It launches as a 2026 pilot in Louisiana, Ohio, Indiana, and Texas, alongside the National Urban League, the Associated Builders and Contractors, and something called CBRE. And on its face, this is a rare corporate workforce play that's generally good for workers. No debt, real pay during training, a credential that you keep, and explicit reach in the communities historically shut out of those careers, which is a surprisingly generous look for a company that's been something of a poster child for exploitation. But here's the catch, and you knew there'd be one. What are these grads training to build? Well, they're training to build Meta's data centers, the AI infrastructure that was promised. And call me skeptical that the job guarantee outlasts the build out. So once the data centers are up, where are these people going to go? Are they going to be on maintenance for these places? I have my doubts, but for now, the Pharaoh needs his pyramids built. And good luck, America's Workforce Academy. All right, moving on to Indeed. Indeed has spent all of 2026 tightening the screws, partly to fight the scams and fluff clogging the job board. And this month, they quietly announced that jobs fed in through single source XML or API feeds without a proper ATS integration no longer get free organic visibility. Translation: sponsored payment is now the dependable path to the top of the search. You pay or you disappear. And the timing is key here. Indeed is monetizing organic reach at the exact moment the underlying asset is cratering. Application inflation has already given the value of any single application toward zero. We know this. We've talked about this with application inflation, and trust is going with it. Greenhouse's 2025 report found that 69% of U.S. job seekers believe they've hit fake job postings, and 46% say their trust in hiring dropped in the past year. When we were at HR West last week in San Francisco, the number one problem that I heard with people on the ground is they can't trust anything. There's a huge trust recession out there because of all these AI fakes, and just it's never been easier to fake it till you make it. That's why I have my own show that nobody watches. So you put that together, employers are being asked to pay more to stand out on a platform candidates increasingly don't believe, to harvest applications worth less than they've ever been. And we're going to fix the trust problem by charging for visibility. Sure, indeed. All right, PwC dropped their new global AI jobs barometer. It was built on more than 1 billion job ads across 27 countries, and it's found that AI is splitting jobs into two pieces, or the whole market into two pieces. So on one side, professionalized roles where AI handles the routine work and humans supply the judgment. I want to point out that they specifically called out recruiters as being part of this role. So that's good. So recruiters, radiologists, the people that interpret the data and move forward, these roles are seeing twice the job growth and 42% faster salary growth. On the other side, democratized roles where AI just makes the job easier for a non-expert to do, those are lagging. The same split runs through companies. The most AI-capable firms grew headcount 52% against 36% for the least exposed. And the AI skills premium, postings demanding AI skills, are growing roughly 8 times faster than the broader market, carrying a 62% wage premium. And that all sounds like good news, but here's the catch. Across 2.4 million U.S. entry-level jobs, the roles most exposed to AI are now 7 times more likely to demand traditionally senior skills, judgment, leadership, face-to-face presence. Those seniorized entry roles grew 35% since 2019, while ordinary entry-level work shrank 10%. AI is removing the routine work that used to act as an apprenticeship. So the bottom rung of the ladder is being sawed off and reattached higher up, and nobody explained how to hit that for the new grads. So that's another reason why it's such a hard market out there right now. All right, hot take. A friend of the program, Stacia Gar of Red Thread Research, she posted her read on Oracle's strategy coming out of their April Analyst Day, and it's really a great picture of where the company's HCM strategy is going. So please, I invite you to find her on LinkedIn and read the whole thing. But in short, there's 5 interlocking bets on agentic AI fronted by a pricing pivot that reframes AI as a bundled feature instead of a line item. Unlimited deployed agents, 20,000 AI units a month included, what Oracle's Yvette Cameron pitched as the only unmetered use of an OpenAI LLM for general use. It's an aggressive, smart play. Remember, we are hearing all about token maxing and how companies are getting these huge bills for using AI. So it's a smart play, and it's worth your time looking if you want to look where agentic AI is heading. But here's the part that jumped out to me because I mainly cover TA. The plan is to hand the hiring over to the people like store managers. And on paper, this is great. You democratize it, you push it to the edge. But in practice, store managers are often the least trained, most time-pressed decision makers in the entire building. And you're handing the most legally radioactive function in the company, who gets hired, to the person with the least time to think about it. And then an AI will happily do it for them. So you're going to need to extensively train these people. Otherwise, you're going to have to get ready for some legal headaches. Anyway, go check out Stacia Gar and Red Thread Research on LinkedIn. They're wonderful, and there's a lot more information that I just kind of glazed over here. All right, we are moving on to podcasts. So my podcast this week, I sat down on Totally Talent with Rachel Weingard of Mitratech for an episode we called Fear-Free Leave. Spoiler alert, it is about a leave of absence product. But what was really interesting is that it's kind of like leave of absence is this compliance nightmare, and it's this corner of HR that nobody really raises their hand for. And, you know, Rachel is a former TA pro who's now on the ground helping to spearhead this initiative and create it. So I love seeing people that were in TA move into new things and do things with and actually build tools for other people in the space. Here's a quick highlight of that interview.
We're solving is that HR teams are really afraid of getting leave wrong. It's a black hole of compliance. There's a lot of reasons for this. The laws are complex. They're constantly changing. The consequences of a mistake are real. That compliance anxiety kind of takes over the entire process. So HR's, really focused on eligibility, notices, documentation, and the employee really gets lost in that. It's a real tragedy because, what's happening during somebody's most critical moment of need, it matters. It's a medical diagnosis. It's a new baby, caring for an aging parent. That employee deserves to feel supported. But if HR is drowning in uncertainty, they can't show up that way. And so what we're building is taking the fear out of compliance, automating what can be automated, guiding what needs judgment so that HR can do what they're actually there to do, and that's take care of their people.
All right, the full interview is up on hr.com. Check it out in the Totally Talent section on podcasts. Next up, SpaceX has agreed to acquire AI coding startup Cursor for $60 billion in stock. And that's days after their historic IPO, and less than 2 months after they first started talking to each other. But the logic, to the extent that there is any, goes like this. SpaceX folded Musk's XAI into itself earlier this year, and now it needs that AI division to actually catch up to the real AI labs. They told IPO investors they're chasing a $26 trillion addressable market. $26 trillion. That's roughly the entire GDP of the United States. So I don't have a deep HR take here. I just think you should know that a rocket company bought a code editor for a GDP of a mid-sized country, and we were all just kind of nodded because we are in some wild times right now. So that's it for the news this week, but I do have some current events reporting. We have another special edition of Callie's Corner, focused with our top Iran correspondent, 6-year-old Callie. We're going to ask her some tough questions, so have fun with Callie's Corner this week.
Callie's Corner, serious questions to a 6-year-old. Callie's Corner.
All right, who are you?
I'm Callie.
Okay, hey Callie, is school over?
Yes.
So what are you going to do for the summer?
We're gonna go on a vacation
Where?
to Vermont.
Yep, we're going to Vermont in a couple weeks. We'll be live on location at the Trapp Family Lodge. And what else are you doing?
We also gonna, and at the end of our vacation, we're gonna train a service dog.
We are going to train a service dog. Yes. What's her name? Do you remember? Daphne. All right.
Daphne.
All right. And so, hey, I got to ask you a question. So yesterday, the war in Iran stopped, but the U.S. is giving Iran $300 billion and letting them do whatever they want. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
What would you do with $300 billion?
So we can buy we can spend money on it.
On what? What would you buy?
Like you can buy a house, you can buy a party or something.
Party? Oh, that sounds great. Great. Well, thank you, Callie, for this week's Callie's Corner.
Callie's Corner, Callie's Corner, serious questions to a 6-year-old. Callie's Corner.
All right. Thank you all for indulging me. If you want to read everything that's in this week's newsletter, go to ilovethewrap.com. You can follow me on LinkedIn too. Also, please check out all the work I do over at hr.com. There's Totally Talent podcasts and a lot more on there. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful weekend, actually. Get outside, go do something fun. And to all the dads out there, including this one, happy Father's Day. So take care, everybody, and I'll see you next week.